So this has been an interesting start to the preseason, hasn't it? Back to back joint practice weeks. Usually you get one of these joint practices, and if you get two, they're not necessarily back to back. But the Detroit Lions, for both of their home preseason games, have invited the other team in. And now we're working with the Jags. So we have a forgotten man for the Lions. And yes, you can say, I didn't forget about him. I promise. I promise you did, as far as actually competing and contributing at a high level. But with that being said, before we get going, give us a like if you like the channel, hit that subscribe button. Why not? You'll know when we have other videos going, and hit the comment thread. Let me know if you remember this guy. And it is none other than, and when I say remember him, of course you remember him, but what was your level of expectation for him this year? That's more of what I want to know. And that is none other than wide receiver Khalif Raymond. So this actually comes off the heels of a bummer. We're getting this off Pride of Detroit. And St. Brown left practice early. It looks like he tweaked an ankle. That one doesn't look too serious. Dan Campbell, I'm recording this morning before I go into work. So by the time you watch this, you're going to know what the injury level is. Probably a little bit better, both St. Brown and Jameson Williams. Williams left practice as well because he pulled up short with what, when you pull up short and hold the back of your leg, is only an apparent hamstring injury. Man, this guy, like, if we could just get him to stay healthy and on the field, and I need him to because I took him in fantasy football. Like, okay, so let's just talk about it. But what happened was, when St. Brown went out early, Raymond slid into the spot with the first team. And then on the outside, you had, it sounds like a carousel of Marvin Jones Jr., Dylan Drummond, Chase Cota, and there's just a lot of injuries. Mims is not playing. There's a lot of injuries at the wide receiver position. So it's a good thing there's depth, but is there depth? But here's what they said. It was by far Raymond's best practice. He quickly became Goff's favorite target. And he was most lethal on horizontal routes and just outruns everyone on the field. It said on one route, he literally crossed the entire field, caught the pass, and turned it up for a 30-yard gain. We've seen a lot, Amon-Ra St. Brown do this, and now he's doing it. He goes, not that there were ever any questions with Raymond, but it's still good to see him giving it 100 after signing his extension. As you know, he signed an extension. How did you feel about that extension? Were you like, yeah? Or were you like, why are we paying a guy who's almost 30 a 2-year extension? Like, he does a lot for this team, whether it's punt returns, whether it's kick returns. It's not usually kick returns, but whether it's special teams in general, whether it's coming in and being solid. I think a lot of people forget how productive he was. In recent years. I mean, the dude has good numbers. Last year, he had 47 catches. He had 616 yards. His receiving grade was a 72.7. Like, for the money, when you look at his production, when you add in the special team side of things, it was a good one. It was a good one. So what are some of the other takeaways? Here's one thing that we love. The run game flashed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been so quiet. But here's what I loved. We've talked about Jahmyr Gibbs. Dan Campbell took a second to talk about Montgomery. See, David Montgomery's best attribute is his bowling ball personality, right? So he's like a little bowling ball. He's low to the ground. And what that means is he has phenomenal balance. So what that means is that he is fantastic at getting off tackles. He's fantastic at breaking tackles, at embracing hits, bouncing off of them. And he can't show that yet in practice because it's been practice. What Campbell said is, I think we have an even. I love that word even, because what that means is, like, yeah, he's been good, but there's still more to go. He said, I don't think we've even seen the best of him yet because we don't really go live and he's not in games yet. That's when I think he's really going to show up, because he has break tackle ability. That's the big difference. So there were more takeaways here. There's another one that is behind a paywall with The Athletic, so I can't show that to you, but I'm going to just give you some kind of brief overviews of it, feel free to subscribe to The Athletic. They do a good job. Colton Pouncey's the beat writer. He is really in his first season. It took him a few months to find his legs, but he's got them now, and he's doing really good. And he talked about how it's been nice to see Levi Onwuzurike back on the field. He's still healthy, everybody. Like, could he actually be healthy? He said it felt like being reborn again. It felt good to be out there talking about the first preseason game. He said it's been too long. We have not seen Levi Onwuzurike in a football game in 19 months. He didn't play all of last year. He ended his rookie campaign on the field, but we haven't seen him all of last year. Here's what he said about what they're doing with him and what his comeback is looking like. He said, it seems like they're giving me more reps, trying to get my breath under me. Onwuzurike said, a gradual buildup. I'm feeling good. I appreciate everything they've done for me in that room. I mean, everything's going good. It feels good to get more reps. It's all part of getting back to football. And yes, the Lions are moving him along slowly. All right. But here's something we haven't heard. In the first joint practice with the Jags, he was spotted playing alongside some of the starters for a few, like this is a few, right? Snaps during a red zone period. This could be a sign that he's ready for more. All right, they'll need to determine it. We've also heard reports that he has to get his conditioning up. He has to get his strength up. He has to get his weight where it needs to be because he hasn't been able to do all these crazy things. I've seen pictures of him. I think he looks jacked, but at the same time, there's a difference between what you look like in a picture and what football conditioning looks like. So there's some things that might have to happen there. The other side of this, the one other thing that is a takeaway, and I love this. Maybe I should have started the video with this. CJ Gardner-Johnson, he's what the Lions need. He is loud out there. He forced 2 fumbles with big hits. You can't slow him down. He's always running his mouth, and his game is backing up that talking. It was hilarious. Like, he's sitting there doing an interview, and all of a sudden, Calvin Ridley, arguably the best wide receiver on the Jags team. Also, remember, they had gone at it a little bit when Ridley was in Atlanta and CJ Gardner-Johnson was in New Orleans. All right. Nolans. All right. And he said, here's what he said. He's a good player, man, but he just talks too much. There's an expletive in there. So Ridley said this, like, CJ Gardner-Johnson is doing the interview. All the reporters are here. Back over there, Ridley starts yelling, he talks too much. Gardner, he said, but he is a good, another expletive player now. So he's sitting there. He's like, he talks too much, but man, he's good. Gardner-Johnson just looks and says, facts, facts. I thought this was hilarious. So, anyways, just these other things to think, like, he's continuing to make these big plays. I don't know. Are you excited hearing this stuff still, or do you just want regular season football? We're a few weeks away. It's not as far as you think. 2.5 weeks, I think, and we get to see real football. All right. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet, and give us a like.